Moving on to water conservation. So on the first page here, I just want to list some good water saving practices. Many of the people in this room already know this. You know about educating your employees, doing some basic things for your property to make sure that you have the proper equipment in place, so on and so forth. But what I really want to get to was into the facts and figures about water usage. And by the way, this will all be available. As you know, we're taping this now, but a copy of this presentation and the audio will be available after we're done. So this sheet will be in there. So if you want to review it more in depth, you can do that. So some facts and figures, and one of them really stuck out to me when I was setting up this presentation. The cost of water rose 41% just between 2010 and 2015. I mean, that's like the cost of college. I mean, that is really, that number stood out to me. And it really made me think, like, geez, can you imagine 41%? And as we move through here now, now water's gotten so expensive in many places. Overall, in commercial applications, it's making up 24% of the entire utility cost. It used to be that 80% of your costs or more was just the electric, because that's just the common, that's the most common utility you're going to use. But now water is actually taking part of that away. It's now 24% of your entire utility cost in commercial applications. So who can provide a solution to this? We'd mentioned two companies before. Who's going to help save up to 30% on my water bill? How many people are in here to hear about this product? So we got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so most of the people, about half the people in here will want to hear about this product. So you all want to know how we can save up to 30% on your water bill, right? Well, there's the company, Capital Distribution. How many people have heard of this company? No, it's a relatively new company, but the product they have is called the Smart Valve. Now, how many people have heard of the Smart Valve in the room? No, look at that, no hand, one hand in the back. Okay, well, you probably shouldn't have. It's a relatively new product. It was just patented in 2014. It's an American-made product again. Patented water-saving device. You stay there. Oh, skip into that a second. Sorry, 1 second now. Let me just get back to the other slide. Jump the gun there a little bit. Biggest thing I can tell you about this, what this device does is every incoming line to your property, to your your residence, whatever application you're looking at, has air within the line. And what this device does is, as that air passes through your water meter, what's really going on is the water meter is reading the air that passes through it as water and effectively charging you for those air pockets, those pockets of air coming through. And what this device does, and I'm going to show you a video here in a second, it actually takes those bubbles, those pockets of air, and creates this constant pressure that's going to shrink those bubbles down to nothing. A little tiny bubble, so when they pass through the water meter, they're not counted. So the only thing once this device is installed in your property, or for your customer, or within their home, all you're going to be charged for is water moving forward. And you're also going to hear a couple other things here in a second about what other benefits it brings to it. So let's go to the video, since I kind of jumped the gun there a little bit already.
We are proud to introduce the Smart Valve, a patented and NSF certified precision engineered device that will save you money on your water bill by improving water meter accuracy and, in many cases, eliminate water overconsumption. When water flows through your water meter, it causes an internal paddle to spin in order to measure the volume of your water consumption. There are, however, problems with this method of measurement. First, water carries with it a volume of air, and since 99% of water meters measure...
Yeah, I can check on that for you in a second.
They cannot tell the difference between water and air. This means you're being charged for any volume of air as if it were water. Second, water is ideally delivered to the user at a pressure of 65 psi. Opening a fixture on the demand side, such as a hose, faucet, toilet, or sprinkler, causes a drop in water pressure. This pressure drop not only allows any air present to expand and have more volume, it also causes flow surges. Both of these conditions can cause overspinning of the water meter. It can also cause further inaccuracy because water meters are designed to work within a specific range of flow rate. Usage surges and low usage trickles can cause the meter to God. Higher water pressure can cause overconsumption of water, as well as leaks, increased maintenance, and equipment failures. The solution to all of these issues is the Smart Valve. This seemingly simple, yet extremely effective variable flow management device solves the problems that are likely causing you to be billed for more water than you consume and to use more water than you want to. The Smart Valve is easily installed on the user side of the water meter. Its constant variable resistance creates a back pressure that appears on the supply side of the water meter. This creates a solid pour of pressurized water from upstream of the water meter to the Smart Valve. When air bubbles hit the pressure point before the water meter, they're compressed and pass through the water meter with no volume. This stops the meter from measuring the air and also eliminates overspin of the meter caused by lower resistance when air is present. Furthermore, the variable resistance of the Smart Valve acts as a shock absorber, maintaining a smooth and even flow profile, and the solid core of water eliminates pressure drops and surges at the water meter, which further prevents overspinning and protects your equipment and fixtures from damage and leaks due to pressure surges. In cases where city water pressure is above 65 psi, the Smart Valve will also act as a flow controller to alleviate oversupply of water due to high pressure. The Smart Valve was developed with 10 years of research, development, and testing in order to deliver a proven and reliable solution to these common problems. Its parts are made using only potable-grade stainless steel and acetron, a space-age resin that's incredibly strong, impact-absorbent, and self-lubricating, developed specifically for applications like the Smart Valve. Each Smart Valve is customized to match the configuration and conditions of your water system and comes with a 10-year manufacturer's warranty. And like any other energy investment project, the Smart Valve increases the appraised value of your property. How much will you save on your water bill? Because water usage has so many variables, it's impossible to accurately predict. However, most of our customers fall in the range between 10 to 25%, with a few seeing much higher savings. We offer a 90-day, no-question-asked satisfaction guarantee, so you can try it and see the savings for yourself. Save money, save water. The Smart Valve. It's brains for your water meter.
Okay, so I'll take in there, and I guarantee we got some questions here, don't we? So I just want to get to the other screen here first, so because some of this is going to be, I'm sure we're going to get some install questions, and we're going to get a few other things along those lines. So let's see, I got a few hands up here. You in the back, go ahead. Okay, Tom, right? Okay. Okay, so the question was, how do we install the Smart Valve if it's going on the town side and if there's permits involved? Well, as you can see here in the top of this diagram here, the Smart Valve is actually installed on the user side of the water meter. It has all the necessary components. I know we had one person here that came down from Boston. Where are you? I know I met you in the other room. There you are. Okay. It is mass approved, which I know is a big thing up there. So it is mass approved. It has the ANSI code and so on and so forth. I know there's a bunch of other regulations, but it has them. Okay, we've installed these. We've had these installed across the country, different locations. But because it's on the user side of the water meter, it's not a require. It's not like if you're doing work on the town side and you have to get town approval, et cetera, et cetera. So to answer that question, yes, it's on the user side of the water meter. Whether you're talking about a house or you're talking about an institution, the only things you need to know is it works best if it's within 25 feet of the meter. It goes in, if there's a backflow there present, you want to put it after the backflow, but before a pressure reducing valve, and obviously before a booster system or anything else like that, because that's how it's effective, you know, because obviously if there's a booster system there, it's going to increase the air and it's not going to work properly. So basically after a pressure reducing valve, before after a backflow preventer and before a pressure reducing valve. So as you can see there on the bottom left there, it's a flange install. Now the smaller versions up to 2 inch, including the commercial sizes. So now, residential, you have 5/8, 3/4, 1 inch for the residential size, and then in commercial size, you have 1 inch and 2 inch. Those are all available on double thread, which makes it a very easy install for you guys. But anything bigger than that comes flanged, like you can see there in the bottom left. The equipment to install this, very minimal. Basically, if it's residential, as you can see there, just basically it's putting a hole in the pipe and slipping this device in the proper direction, obviously. And actually, I have a residential one here I'm going to pass around, so you can take a look here. Very simple install. I mean, frankly, I'm not a plumber. You guys in the room here are, but you're talking about for a residential install, I would think somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes, unless you have some issues there or something astronomical going on. I mean, it's basically shutting the water off, putting this back in, and repiping it with it installed. I mean, it's a pretty simple install. Commercial gets a little trickier. We sell these up to 12 inches, so depending on how big the line is. Common, as we know, is like a 6-inch line for many of the bigger properties. It's a flanged install, so you'd obviously have to shut the water down. We know that already. Before this, on the user side of the water meter, you can remove the bolts there, take the flange off, change the gasket, drop this in if there's enough room, and boom, you just rebolt it up. Or you might have to, do the same thing, cut the pipe and put this in, and then set up another set of flanges. But most cases, you're able to use the flange that's there and set this right in there. Now, the big thing from a commercial standpoint, you're talking about our ROI, return on investment, of 2 years or less. And that's a very big factor because you're talking about a product that has a 10-year warranty on it. Okay, I say set it and forget it, just like those old George Foreman grills, or not the George Foreman grills, the old rotisserie ovens back in the day. But set it and forget it. That's what this item is. Once you guys either have this installed or install it yourselves, there's nothing else to do to it. There's no testing it. There's no other, you're not going back and have to do any maintenance on it. And it's got a 10-year warranty. So, I mean, it's once the product's installed, all you're going to do is see savings. And, okay, yes, in the back. Did I answer your question? Okay. In the back there. Okay, Carol, right? Okay. Okay, Carol's question was, go ahead. Okay. How do you know how much, the question basically, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but how do you know I'll save 30% of my water? Okay, good question. The answer is I don't. I said you could save up to 30% on your water. And in all reality, I'll be completely honest. I have heard savings as low as 6%. Excuse me, I got a drink of water there. I was getting a little thirsty. I've seen savings as low as 6%. I've seen savings as high as 37%. I know typically most cases fall between 12 and 24% savings. 30%, and I have seen that happen many, obviously I've seen 37%, but, I've seen it reach the high 20s many times. I've seen it in the teens. I think the real factor here is whether you're talking about commercial or residential, is the ROI, return on your investment, because you're looking at 2 years or less, whether you manage the property or you're putting it in for a commercial property, you're looking at 2 years or less. On the residential side, it's a little bit longer. We know that the water usage and water cost is not as much as compared to an institution, particularly apartment complexes, college dorms. We even had cases where we put these in for laundromats, so on and so forth. So, on the commercial side, when, we as a hospital we're looking at now, there's 2 million gallons of water a month. And one of the first questions I got was, well, if you can't guarantee 30%, then why am I going to put this in? I said, well, because honestly, if you're spending $20,000, let's say, to put this device in, or, cost of the item and cost of the labor, let's say it costs you $30,000. So you're using 2 million gallons of water a month. And what if you only save 5% or 10%? I said, you're still going to make your money back in 2 years or less. I said, so this is a no-brainer. You might make your money back in 5 months. If you happen to have enough savings where you get to 25, 30%, you might make your money back in less than a year. So, I mean, and that's why we offer the 90-day return policy, because nobody sends it back. I'll be honest, companies don't offer that. Companies that offer that, they have a good, solid product, which is why it has a 10-year warranty, okay? And they know nobody's going to return them, otherwise they wouldn't offer it. If they stand, we're standing behind the product because it's a solid product. And if you were to go install this and put this in on April 1st of this year, and check your water bills for April, May, and June, and compare them to April, May, and June of 2016, we're telling you you're going to see a saving unless something drastic has changed. Now, if you run an apartment complex and last year you had 150 people living there, and this year you have 250 people living there, well, yeah, you're not going to see a savings probably, because you're talking about adding a lot more water usage. But all things being equal, you compare the next 3 months you put this in at compared to the same time period last year, you're going to see a savings. There's no question about it. It's a question of how much. It's like saying you've won the lottery, so you're either going to win $100 or $1 million, but you're going to win something. So if I tell you that lottery ticket's going to cost you $10, but you're going to win at least 100 and maybe $1 million, I think you're going to buy one. So, I mean, it's a very set it and forget it device. You don't have to worry about it. It works. And like I said, it shouldn't bother you exactly not knowing it, because nobody can figure that out. Nobody knows exactly how much water you're going to save, because nobody knows exactly how much air is in there. Nobody knows exactly what your pressure is. And, that's part of it too. This also acts kind of as a pressure reducing valve in a sense that you're going to see 3 to 5% reduction in your pressure. So if your pressure is 75 coming in right now, and you have a 2-story small apartment complex, this is going to reduce your pressure down a little bit. But 65, we all know, is the magic number. So if we can get you there, you're also going to see, an improvement on the savings because of that, because you're having a steady 65 gallon per minute come through. 65 PSI coming in. And it's going to be a steady stream that's going to eliminate a lot of that air going through the meter. Does that make sense to everybody? Any other questions on this? Lead time on these is typically 1 to 2 weeks from date you order. They're customized. So on a residential side, all we need to know right now is what the PSI is and obviously what size it is. But it's still custom designed based on that. The commercial side is a 1-page cheat sheet, so to speak. Basically asking questions like, what type of equipment is there? Is there a pressure reducing valve there? Is there a backflow preventer there? Is there a booster system? Is there irrigation? What type of material is the pipe made of? Basic questions there. We look for some pictures too. It's something that's got to be filled out because it's also custom designed, but it's pretty straightforward. 1-page document needs to be filled out. Any questions on that? Okay, and I'll be available to obviously if you have more questions, specific questions for your property, I can definitely address those at the end.